on.
Well, let's keep going. And good morning, everyone. Today, I have the pleasure of sharing with you a topic that I'm really, really passionate about. As Liliana said, I love nature, and I have always been fascinated about natures. And today, I'm going to share with you how to bring a little bit of nature into your home. So I'm going to talk about how to build a pollinator habitat at your home today. So I'm with Keep Rowlett Beautiful. As Liliana said, Keep Rowlett Beautiful is a non-profit organization that help community through volunteer and education and focus on creating a healthy, beautiful, and sustainable environment. Our vision is to promote environmentally friendly habits through the conservation of air, water, and land resources. So what is pollination, by the way? And you can see the two flowers here on the right hand side. And in this instance, the pollinator is the butterfly. The butterfly flies from one flower to the other flower, bringing the pollen from the male part of the flower to the female part of the flower. Why is this so important? It's because the movements of the pollen must fertilize and produce fruits, seeds, and young plants. So why pollinators? Because do you eat food? 1 out of every 3 bites of food that you eat exists because of the efforts of the pollinators, including many fruits, vegetables, and seeds. What about, do you love to breathe in clean air every day? So a healthy ecosystem depends on pollinators. At least 75% of all the flowering plants on Earth are pollinated by insects and animals. And this amounts to more than 1,200 food crops and 180,000 different types of plants. Plants which help stabilize our soils, clean our air, and supply oxygen and support wildlife. What about thinking about our economy? In the United States alone, pollination by honeybees contributed to over 19 billion of crop production in 2010, while pollination by other insect pollinators contributed to nearly 10 billion of crop production. So, who are the pollinators? Obviously, the bees are the most important pollinators. And then other pollinators are butterflies, moths, beetles, flies, wasps, hummingbirds, birds, and even small mammals like bats. Now, do you know some of the beautiful native bees in Texas? We have bumblebees, we have mason bees, we have sweat bees, and leaf-cutting bees. What about some of the butterflies? We actually have lots and lots of butterflies. Here are just a few. And on the top left is the one that everybody loves and knows, is the monarch butterfly. And the bottom picture is the caterpillar of monarch butterfly. And do you know that the caterpillar eat very specific food, specific native plants? In this case, the monarch only eats milkweed. And the black swallowtail in the middle eats, the caterpillar below eats parsley. And the American painted lady, the caterpillar below, eat thistle. So these are just some of them, and there are a lot more here in North Texas. So today we say help. We need your help because the pollinators are in crisis. There are significant declines in native pollinator population sizes, ranges globally. Up to 40% of pollinator species on Earth are at risk of extinction in the coming years because of a few environmental stress. The number one is habitat loss. And then also exposure to pesticides, diseases and pathogens, and climate change. They need our help, and we can help by creating a pollinator habitat at home by growing a native garden. So today I want to share with you how you can create the pollinator habitat. So there are 4 very important components for creating a pollinator habitat. Number 1 is food for the adults and food for the babies. And they need water, and they need shelter to protect themselves from the environment, and protection from chemicals and pesticide. So what are the food for the bees? Basically, bees eat a we need diverse selection of native plants with abundant pollen and nectar across the growing seasons. And they need shelter like hollow stems and ground for them to nest. And what about butterflies? The adult butterfly eat the same thing as the bees. Abundant pollen and nectar across the growing season of native plants. And the baby, we have said before, they eat very specific food, like the monarch butterfly eat milkweeds. So how do we save the bees? Here are some of the flowers. Imagine you save the bees by planting beautiful flowers in your garden. So on the left here, you can see across the season, the spring, the summer, and the fall. Here are the plants across the spring with very low water needed, low water and medium water. And then, so now how do we create a pollinator garden? So typically this is a chemical-free native pollinator garden. And even the smallest garden will help. So here are the 8 steps to create the pollinator garden. Number 1, basically choose the native plants and to help the native pollinators, and know the components of a native pollinator garden, and conduct a site analysis. Lay out your garden design and choose the plants. Gather the tools and the materials and prepare the site and plant the native plants. And then later on, you just need to care for your pollinator garden. So the first step is to choose the native plants. What kind of pollinators do you want to attract to your garden? Is it the monarch or the black swallowtail or the bumblebees? And then the native plants that you want in the garden, the colors that you like. So there are some resources in the Native Plant or Botanical Society. Here in Texas, you can look at Texas Discovery Garden, Texas Native Plant Society, Rooted In, and Audubon. And they all sell chemical-free native plants. Usually they have a plant sale in April and another plant sale in October every year. The second step is to know the components of a native pollinator garden, which we already talked about just now. Food for the adult, which is a diverse selection of native plants with abundant pollens across the season. And food for the baby, native milkweed, or any other caterpillar that you want. You can research that online. And water, muddy spots or shallow places, water, so that this pollinator can access the water. And shelter, and we said just now, the hollow stem, decaying woods or leaves or grasses or bare soil are really important. You may think that they don't look pretty, but they are really, really important for this pollinator, for their shelter. And also protection. Please tell your friends and neighbors to not use pesticides or to purchase plants that is growing with harmful chemicals, because they kill the pollinators. Number 3 is conduct a site analysis. So you want to think about where in your home you really want this garden. Is it front, back, or side? And then you measure that site, the length, the width, and the shape. Remember, right plant for the right place, meaning that you need to know the height, the width, the color, the flowering time, the texture, the soil water needs, the sunlight, and the pollinator that you want to attract. So basically look around your site to know whether it is morning sun, afternoon sun, in the shade, or the soil, what kind of texture soil, and you know what kind of soil it is, and use only organic compost and mulch to enhance your soil. And then look at the moisture level, wind exposure. Remember, you need to have a water source nearby. You need to water your pollinator garden in the first year at least. And then think about how does it fit into your landscape scheme, because this it has a more natural and informal kind of appeal. Number 4, lay out the garden. Choose a design. There are lots of designs on the internet, so you can Google them and choose one that you like. But if you're a beginner, you can always go to Rooted In. For $99, they can sell you a pollinator kit, right? Or go to Texas Discovery Garden during their plant sale in April. They have a starter kit. So thing to consider. Number 1, select a variety of flowers that bloom throughout the season, like the flowers that we show you just now. And also food for the babies. And then protective habitats like grass to help to protect the pollinators from the environment. And then remember, plan for the mature size of the plant. If that plant's mature at 3 by 2, even right now it's a tiny plant, you got to give them space. And then consider the growing habits of the plants. And if they are small, thin plant, consider to mass planting them so that you have a big patch so that it's nice to look at, and it's also easy for the pollinator to find that patch to forage. Plant the taller plants in the center of the garden, and also group the moisture plants, the one that more low moisture, high moisture together, so it's easy for you to take care of them. And leave a border of several inches of spread and mulch around your garden. And then once you know all this, you need to gather the tools and the materials. So organic hardwood mulch, about 2 inches, and organic compost, 2 inches if necessary. If you go to Living Earth or Covington Nursery and say that this is the measurement of my site and I need 2 inches, they will tell you exactly how much mulch you will need. And the next thing is to gather newspapers. We would like to put like 5 to 10 layers of newspaper to cover the whole site to deter the weed from coming back. Some of the tools that you need: your garden gloves and hand thrower, garden knife, garden scissors, pruning shears, shovels, spade, garden hose, wheelbarrow, large garbage bags. These are all the things that you need. But depending on your site, you may need some other tools. If you have lawn, you got to mow it really short before you lay the newspaper on top. Remember, sun protection is really important. Wear a hat, sunglasses, and sunblock to protect yourself. And wear closed-toe shoes and comfortable clothing. Remember to drink lots of water and bring food with you so that you have a good day. Now, come to the day to prepare the site. First, you need to remove all the plants that you don't want. And if it's long, mow them really short. Once you have removed that, you lay down the 5 to 10 layers of newspaper over the whole site. Wet the newspaper and then mulch with 2 inches of hardwood mulch. If you want compost, add them first before you put the mulch on top. And then once you prepare the site, it's time to plant the flowers. So you just need to lay out all the plants according to the design on the floor. Once you lay them out, break the root system of your plant and then use a thrower or knife or shovel to dig a hole that's deep enough to put the root system in the hole. If you like, you can put in a little bit of fertilizer or soil builder, organic one, in the planting hole before you put in the plant, and just planting, water the entire garden. And then later on, you add a layer of natural mulch as pine bark or hardwood on top of it, if you haven't done so before. And that's it. You got a pollinator garden built. But remember, the first year it sleeps, the second year it creeps, the third year it lives. So in the first year, you got to water your garden a lot, regularly, and weeding by hand. In the fall, leave the seed heads for the birds, and also leave the stem for the insect to overwinter. Cut back in the early springtime and compost in the spring, and then you will have a pollinator garden for years to come that you can enjoy and make a difference for your environment. Remember, never use weed killers, chemical fertilizer, or pesticides. So this is one of the pollinator garden that we built at Dogwood Canyon Audubon Center. So they wanted us to build this pollinator garden in front of these two nature play area. So this is the left side before, right side before. You can see that there are a lot of overgrown plants. So what we do is the secret is that you want to do that after the rain, or really water them properly before you pull out all the plants. And then the second picture here, you can see that this is after we have cleared out everything pretty clean. So this person here, this gentleman, is Roger Sanderson. He was the director of horticulture at Texas Discovery Garden. Texas Discovery Garden is one of the best, most beautiful and ecological pollinator garden in DFW area. I would recommend you to go there if you have not visited that garden. And the second day, we lay down the newspaper, as you can see, over the whole site, and then started to put the mulch over the garden, and that looks really ready to plant. And the planting day, we put all the plants laying on the ground, and then you can see that Evelyn, a high school student that really helped us there, and putting the plant in the ground, and again, Roger Sanderson breaking down the root ball and putting the plant in the ground until everything is done. Voila! We got the pollinator garden built. And you can see that here on the left side, Evelyn is watering all the area really well after planting. This is the right side, and this is a panoramic picture of the nature play area. What a difference. Remember, first year it sleeps, second year it creeps, third year it lives. So here, again, this is the crew: Roger Sanderson, director of horticulture at Texas Discovery Garden, myself with the pink boots, and Evelyn, the high school student, and the lady in the red jacket, Kathy, is a Texas master naturalist. 4 of us build this pollinator garden. And you want to see what happened today. Today, we just got this picture a couple of days ago. You can see that the garden is thriving. They said that in the fall and the spring, this looks even better. There's a lot more colors. So this concludes building the pollinator garden. And we have some pollinator habitat resources here at City of Rowlett, Keep Rowlett Beautiful, Texas Discovery Garden, rooted in Texas Native Plant Society, Texas Master Naturalist, and Audubon Center. And Bee City USA, we are proud that City of Rowlett is a part of Bee City USA. It is a framework for communities to come together to conserve native pollinators by providing them with healthy habitat that is rich in a variety of native plants and provides next size and is protected from pesticide. UTD is a Bee Campus USA. So City of Rowlett collaborate with KRB, is a Bee City USA. The vision is that City of Rowlett will be the leader in creating sustainable, healthy environment. The mission is to build a thriving and healthy community by connecting people with nature. And the benefit is to protect pollinators, ensure the safety of our food chain, to have healthy environment, clean water, clean air, enjoy the beauty with nature, with the native plants and pollinators, reduce costs and savings by reduced watering and the pesticide use, and connect our community to make a really positive impact. I must say that we need to learn to live in harmony with nature. It is not a choice, it is a necessity. So therefore, the City of Raleigh have programs in progress to help people who want to build pollinator in their garden. And then if you are really interested, please put your name and contact information in the chat. Liliana, please put your email in the chat so that they can contact you if they have any question. And this concludes my presentation today. And if you have any question, I'll be happy to take any question right now.
Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation, Cindy. I did add my contact information to the chat. So if you want to or wish to reach out to Cindy, please email me and I will make sure she gets your information. I do have a question for you, Cindy, from Tom. Tom, would you like to tell her verbally or would you like me to read it? I could do either one.
I can read it. Cindy, we have a community where we have a large amount of green belts throughout our whole neighborhood. And we've been thinking about ways to bring the community together. And going through this whole thing, I think this would be a great idea. We may not have the knowledge, so I was wondering, and I heard you mention something about the City of Rowlett maybe able to help you start your gardens. Would they be able to help out and consult with us prior to doing anything, just to make sure we're doing right locations, making sure we have everything we need?
Hello,
Would that
Tom.
be a possibility? And who would we talk to?
Yes, Tom. Hey, you can definitely talk to me or Liliana, and I'll be happy to share information and keep Raleigh beautiful. Actually, we do a lot of work, Pollinator Garden. We have one at the Coy House, and we have one at the DRELC, the Dan Robert Environmental Center. And then the City of Raleigh is going to build a few more. And we are so excited that you want to do this with us to make a difference. So definitely reach out to me or reach out to Liliana. I'll be happy to talk to you more about what you want to do. And Liliana, I guess that you can update him about the programs of the City of Raleigh, right?
Yes. Yeah, if I can jump in, Cindy. Yes, in terms, Tom, we are working right now on putting together a program with a policy in regards to, especially if you're building in public areas around the city. That way, you have, if it's a space that it's not your garden, we are creating or building a policy right now. It should be set and ready to go by the beginning of next year. And with that, we will be collaborating with Keep Rowlett Beautiful to help, with the educational component. But right now, we're still figuring out how we can help with the resources and the materials if you need our help. But for now, Cindy will be able to help you just in general for the design of the Pollinator Garden if you wish to do it at your private property. And from the city side, we will be kicking that off soon. It's just not finalized yet.
Yes, well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I
Tom,
appreciate it. So we just need guidance.
Yes.
Tom, if you like to put your email probably in the chat for Liliana, and she can forward that to me. Okay. And then we can get in touch. It's always good to start because it takes time, Tom. When we start talking, maybe by the time City of Raleigh program will be up and running already.
Yes, and I have my contact information on the chat as well, Tom. If you wish to reach out to me, you are welcome to do that as well.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Anyone else with questions? We have about 10 minutes left. Anyone wants to share? Cindy, from my perspective, I'm very new also when it comes to building pollinator gardens, and I actually don't have a lot of space to build one. So, what do you recommend for us, that for those of us that don't have a backyard or a large enough place to build a pollinator garden? Is there a way that I've heard of container garden? I think there's container gardens before. So what do you recommend when there's not a lot of room to build a pollinator garden? Are we still able to do so? Bring the bees maybe to our balcony, or is that
That is
possible?
a great question, Liliana. Well, every small bit can help. If you have containers, actually in the patio, you just need to have 3 flowers that you love. My recommendation is for the spring to have some salvia greyi, with red colors, and another container if you like purple cornflower or brown eye Susan, the yellow ones. They're for good for bees and the butterflies. And in the fall, put in 4 aster. I love 4 aster. So 3 container plants. If you want to add an additional, great mist flower is really, really great. You got them. They love it all the time. Now, and then, do you like monarch butterfly, Liliana?
Yes,
And you
those
like
are
black swallowtail?
yeah. I like monarchs. I I like all butterflies, but I haven't seen much of the black swallowtail
You
other than the
know
photo you
why?
sent.
You know why? I tell you the secret. If you want black swallowtail to visit your patio, put parsley in there because the
Oh,
baby eat parsley. And
okay.
then have a pot of milkweed. Then you have monarch visiting you. So then with
Wonderful.
just these 5 plants, you can have monarch and black swallowtail. So if you like some other butterflies, like pipe vine swallowtail that I love, then just buy a pot of pipe vine in there. So when the baby has food, they will lay eggs on there, and you will have plenty of
Butterflies.
pollinators in your patio. Isn't that great? And make a difference to the environment and enjoy
Mhm.
nature right at your patio.
Well, thank you. Is this a good time for me to go buy
This is a great
this plant?
time.
Okay.
November is a great
Okay.
time. By the way, Autobahn centers still have some sale on because a lot of them closes at October, and I believe that they have sale 50% off right now until November 15. Darkwood Canyon Autobahn Center. So Google online, they probably still have some places that still have some plant for sale.
Can you write that on the chat, Cindy, for those of us that want to visit the website and see what they have available? Thank you much.
Texas Discovery Garden said that they still have some, but probably they don't. You have to call them. If you miss this
Okay.
time frame, then do it in the springtime. But November is a great time for planting.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for that.
That's a great question.
I learn a lot from every time I get to speak to you, I learn something new. So this is wonderful. Anyone else with questions before we end this session? No more questions for Cindy or I? Well, questions. Okay.
If there is no question, I just want to conclude that I really, really thank everyone who is here today. And I urge that you will join Keep Raleigh Beautiful. Go to our website, go to City of Rowlett. We always welcome volunteers to work with us in the garden because we are going to build this Dan Robert Environmental Learning Center here at City of Raleigh as well. And we have a lot of pollinator gardens at the Koi House. So do come and join us. We welcome you and bring your, maybe a lot of you are experts already, and we welcome you to share your expertise with us and to help make our environment clean and beautiful. Thank you so much.
And thank you, everybody. Thank you so much, Cindy. It was a wonderful presentation. And here from the city of Rowlett, if you do live in this city, we are, like Cindy mentioned, we are a B City USA affiliate. And we are in the process of publishing our brand new website that's gonna have a lot of wonderful educational material. So be on the lookout for that. I should be sending out emails as soon as that's ready. And like we said again, you're welcome to email me and I will make sure that Cindy gets all the questions that that you wish to ask her. You can also find her on the Keep Rowlett website if you wish to volunteer there. And the city is also looking for volunteers when we start kicking these programs off. The goal is to truly have pollinator gardens throughout the city. We're just trying to get things in place at first, and then hopefully we'll be able to from that point on to continue to build up pollinator gardens, which are, in my opinion, great for the environment, for our well-being, and I look forward to to collaborating with you all in throughout this journey and experience of building our own pollinator gardens throughout the city of Rowlett, Plano, and Garland.
Right.
It will be a wonderful city collaboration. And again, thank you so much for being a part of this experience. And it is now 10:22. You still have a little bit of time before our keynote speaker. What you can do next is leave the room and go back to the main room while you find Tara, and you still have some time to grab a cup of coffee, maybe stretch out a little bit. I know we've been sitting for a while, but thank you again, and I will see you if you're going to be joining our third workshop of the day, which is going to be empowering the youth throughout our community. A wonderful panel discussion that we'll be having with our youth, who we value much in our cities. We really think and thought it was important to hear their thoughts. So if you are interested in this workshop, come back to this breakout room again at 10. Let me make sure I'm saying the right time. 11:30. So right after our keynote speaker. But for now, enjoy the conversation. The what our keynote speaker is going to say.
Actually,
is wonderful.
Liliana,
Mm-hmm.
can I ask a question? I just want to know how many of them are beginners or are experts here, if they can raise their hand.
Can
If you're beginners, because I make it like a beginner, kind of beginner through a wide range today, beginner to expert. So I want to see, do you know how to use the raise hand function? Like raise your hand if you're a beginner in building pollinator habitat. Okay, Jingling.
Add it to the
Only
chat
one is beginner.
as well.
Only one is beginner. Two is beginner. Okay, two beginners. All right. Thank you. Now, what about you are moderate? You have built something and know something about how to build some pollinator garden. Oh, Jim, you have built some pollinator garden before. Awesome. You want to share something? No. Okay. All right. Okay. Last but not least, I assume that everyone else is expert, right? Who is expert? I see. By the way, I see my sister Jesslyn is from Malaysia here. She's joining us today from Malaysia. This is so good about Zoom, right?
Hi,
People
Jess.
from all over the world can join us. So she
Nice
she
to
waved her
have
hand.
you. Wonderful
Yeah.
to have you here. Yeah, it's
So
great to
everyone else is expert, right? People who didn't raise their hand are expert, I guess.
We do have I see a few familiar names on the chat, and I do know that they have experience with building pollinator gardens.
That's so awesome. We need experienced people to come join us and to build the pollinator gardens in the city of Raleigh, right? We have a couple of them planned already.
Yes. Well, thank you, everybody. Like I said again, Cindy, do you have anything else to say before
No,
I close the session?
I'm great. Thank you.
Thank you again. This was wonderful.